yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab it and taste it.
We got ourselves a hot, and I mean a hot show, even though Mother Nature continues to be bipolar in the month of April, as we are back down to the 50-degree weather here in the oh-so-great state of New Jersey, said nobody ever. Because let's be honest here, this state is a fucking shithole without me. But as per usual, I got myself a notebook full of at least 20 pages of notes right here. We got ourselves a lot of people that are going to be filing in, and that could only mean that it's Saturday, and you know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, as we are streaming live on 4 different platforms across 5 different accounts. And we are getting set for the first LFU after one of the biggest weekends in pro wrestling history and one of the biggest weekends in the history of the DJ Storms brand. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn X, formerly known as Twitter, handle no. Stop what you are doing. Just stop. You need to stop. And what I need you to do is I need you to take a nice big inhale, because there is an oh so particular scent that is inhabiting the air today. And I would like you to take a nice big inhale with me, and I want you to go, oh, so nice. You got to do it twice. It is so nice. You got to do it a second time. So please take that nice big inhale with me and go, oh. You got to hit the hat trick. You did it once, you did it twice, got to hit that hat trick, and I want you to take a nice big inhale with me, and I want you to go, oh, shit. Do you smell that? Oh my God, that is succulent. That is tasty. Do you know what that is? It's a very, very particular scent. I'm not sure if I can decipher it. Oh, wait a minute. I can decipher it, because it is the smell that is oozing off of me. It is the smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Whoa, to mankind. Oh my God. I am on fire, baby. I am on fire. On time, all the time, every single time I'm live. The fire, oh my God, it is just pulsing through my veins. Somebody call 911. DJ Storms is burning on the dance floor. Whoa! I'm feeling it, baby. I'm feeling it. And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, April 13th, 2024. And we got ourselves a lot to talk about as we are trudging forth into the spring and summer months, although it really doesn't feel like it in New Jersey. I'm hoping it will start feeling like it sooner rather than later. But regardless of that, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and I hope that you guys had a great Easter weekend a couple weeks ago. I hope you guys had a great WrestleMania weekend last weekend. We have plenty of news, rumors, and reports to go over, as well as this week in wrestling. And this week, I'm not going to be so positive. Last weekend, I was very positive because we got some great shows. But this week, this week, I don't know what's going on, but there was virtually nothing to really get excited about outside of one thing. And I can't even believe I'm going to say it, but outside of what is going on with the bloodline right now, outside of Tama Tonga, and we will talk about Tama Tonga, there was really nothing from either company. WWE didn't really do much of anything. AEW didn't really do much of anything. It was a very lackluster week, a rather disappointing week in the world of professional wrestling, which was very, very, very odd considering last weekend, everyone pretty much put their best foot forward, and we got ourselves one hell of a weekend last weekend with Supercard of Honor, which was a great show, Stand and Deliver, which was a very good show, and we got WrestleMania across 2 nights, and the overall 2-night event was a very good show. So coming out of last weekend, rather disappointing that we didn't really get anything of substance. We didn't get anything to really sink our teeth into this week. And again, I'm not asking for a 5-star show every single week. All I'm asking is for some effort to be put into your shows. All I'm asking is give us a reason to watch. And neither WWE nor AEW really gave us a plethora of things to sink our teeth into. Whether it's WWE getting lazy because they got a draft coming up, or it's AEW just coasting into Dynasty because Dynasty's already set in stone. Dynasty looks like a fantastic show. I'm going to be seated in my seat watching that show with eagle eyes. So I'm very much going to be interested in what they do on April 21st, but they're just coasting into the show. And WWE, they're just coasting into the draft. Very, very, very lackluster week for pro wrestling, but we will go over everything. As per usual, please make sure that you follow me on social media, whether it be on X or Instagram, at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on X and Instagram. All I do is make history in everything that I do. In addition to that, you can add me on my personal Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Please make sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. That is, all the links are down in the description, as well as the link to my Rumble. We are live on Rumble right now. We are continuing to build a solid foundation of fans over on Rumble. So if you guys have not gotten Rumble, go get Rumble and go subscribe to me over on Rumble. We are looking to get ourselves a big fan base over there, just like we got ourselves a big fan base here on YouTube. And we are continuing to push forward and continuing to gain more and more traction on both of those sites. In addition to that, please make sure that you hit the like button no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it on Facebook, whether you're watching it on X, Rumble, or YouTube. Hit the like button and share the stream out on all platforms of social media, whether it be Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitch, Rumble, X, Instagram. No matter what social media platforms that you may be using, share it out, because we want to get as many people in here as possible. It is indeed the greatest show on earth, and everyone needs their dosage of DJ Shizzle Dizzle, because it is a known fact that I make people's lives better. I didn't make the rules. Yes, I did. In addition to that, please make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, you hit the subscribe button. It's very, very vital that you do so. We are on the road towards 2,500 people, the big 2500. We're on the road to 2,500 subscribers, and we are going to continue to push forth until we get to 2,500, 2,600, 2,700, 2,800, 2,900, and 3,000. We are looking to grow at a rapid pace, and this year has undoubtedly been the best year of the DJ Storms brand thus far. We are going to continue that pace as we push forth into the spring and summer months. So please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and please make sure that you hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace, because that way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, you already know that it is the best fucking time to be on YouTube, because it is the only time that you are going to get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. You already know what time it is, baby. Look at it. Look at the comb. It says fear the beard. Oh, yes. We're going to light it up right here on the first LFU after WrestleMania with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of because like nice steaming sweet onion chicken teriyaki with cheese. I like to have 2 cheeses on my sweet onion chicken teriyaki. I like to have American and provolone on there. I am just so good. Oh my God, I am succulent, scrumptious. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC, and everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Gregor John, I am doing fantastic. In addition to that, people, super chats, super stickers, super thanks. Please make sure that you go and send those in. I am now monetized, so I can get those super chats, I can get those super stickers, I can get those super thanks. Please make sure you go and send them in. They're down below in the live chat. Hit the money icon down below for super chats and super stickers. Send them in to me, and I may just read them at the end of the stream. In addition to that, I got me a new shipment of DJ Storms t-shirts. I've already sold 3 t-shirts so far. I know one of my main man, Wesley Landon Woosley from Illinois, he recently just got one. One of my good friends, Jellyfish Jalitza, she recently got one. She's down in Florida. And then my main man, Nick of Sleeper Sports Media. Sleeper Sports Media, shout out to him. I remember meeting him back at Extreme Rules 2019 in Philadelphia. Please make sure you go show him some love. He bought one as well. I just sent that out today. If you guys want a DJ Storms t-shirt or a DJ Storms wristband, you can go and DM me either on Instagram, Facebook, or X, formerly known as Twitter. The wristbands are $2 plus shipping. The t-shirts are $25 plus shipping. And I also got custom-made DJ Storms combs coming your way. Trust me when I tell you, the DJ Storms combs are going to be absolutely fucking phenomenal. I will have them sooner rather than later. And when I do, you're going to get yourself the most high-end, the most scrumptious, the most good comb that you will ever find. Those are going to be $3. You can hit me up on Venmo at DJ Storms, or you can hit me up on Cash App, the DJ Storms. Go and check me out and send in your payments if you would like a piece of DJ Storms merch, and you will become an official elite member of the DJ Storms posse. Now then, enough of the self-brand promotion and advertisements. Why don't we get straight into the festivities here? Let's talk about the news, rumors, and reports. Sean Ross Sapp, he confirmed that Matt Hardy is officially a free agent. He is no longer under contract with AEW, and he said that he wants to weigh his options. He chose not to sign the new contract. He's going to take a look at the industry and weigh his options, although I'm not really sure where he's going to go. I mean, if he goes back to WWE, what do you think he's going to do? He's either going to be a coach or he's going to be a glorified enhancement talent. At this point, I would be shocked if Matt Hardy doesn't end up going back to Tony Khan and re-signing with AEW because his brother is still there. His brother is under contract for at least another year or two. So at the end of the day, what's going to become of Jeff Hardy? Jeff Hardy may be utilized here and there, but the Hardys are not going to be in a position where they are going to be major players because it's not their time anymore. AEW has mainly been pushing the younger generation. They've been pushing the new stars. They've been pushing the people like Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Powerhouse Hobbs has been getting some television time as well. We've been seeing people like Darby Allin. He got his showcase in the main event of Revolution with Sting. You got guys like Top Flight in there. The House of Black as well. Mark Briscoe. Eddie Kingston. They're pushing the guys that have not gotten the careers that the Hardy Boys have gotten. So what do you think is going to happen with the Hardys? Hardys are not really going to go anywhere. At most, they'd probably get a token tag team title reign just to round out their careers and say that they were tag team champions everywhere that they went. But at this rate, I don't see the Hardy Boys really doing anything. The Hardy Boys are essentially in a stage where they're helping others get over. They are putting over other individuals. So why exactly would the Hardy Boys go anywhere other than to be coaches or to help get other people over? There is no company right now. There is no major company that is going to put the Hardys in a position where they are going to be the top tag team because it is not their time anymore. So I'm not sure what comes of Matt Hardy. I love Matt Hardy, don't get me wrong. I think Matt Hardy is one of the most underrated individuals in the history of this business. The creative mind of Matt Hardy is great, and Matt Hardy is a very good wrestler. He may get overshadowed by his brother sometimes. He may get overshadowed by a lot of people from his generation like Edge and Christian and the Dudleys and whoever else you want to put in that category. But at the end of the day, Matt Hardy is a very underrated talent. And I really wish he was a major world champion, but can't really do too much about it right now. Can't really do too much about it. In the end, Matt Hardy is not re-signed with AEW. I'm not sure where he goes, but regardless of that, I do wish him the best because he is a trailblazer of tag team wrestling, and he is a very, very, very underrated individual in the entire industry as a whole. And he's a very nice human being as well. I know a lot of people have said that they enjoy being around Matt Hardy. He's a good individual to have in the locker room. He's a very positive individual, and he has a positive influence on many. So I wish him the best. Fightful. Fightful also reported on WWE's new mentality following the sexual misconduct lawsuit against former CEO Vincent Kennedy McMahon. One talent was told, and I quote, "Nobody is indispensable as it relates to this." Specifically, they were pointing to the fact that not only have WWE survived without Vince McMahon, Laurinaitis, Kevin Dunn, and more, but it has thrived for the better. The talent was told that Endeavor believes anyone can be replaced in the event of important figures needing to be removed. Now, what does this mean? What I got from this specifically is WWE or TKO, they are essentially telling everyone to get their shit together. They are essentially laying down the hammer, they're laying down the law, and they're going to tell anyone and everyone that if you fuck up like Vince McMahon fucked up, if you're going to try some of these sleazy underhanded tactics, if you are going to try to get away with sexual misconduct scandals, if you're going to try and get away with shit like that, then ultimately you are going to be terminated. They are laying down the hammer, and they're pretty much saying that if we catch any of you, management or wrestlers, if we catch any of you fucking up, you will be terminated. And you know what? That is the right move to do. That is the right way to go about things. And I'm glad that TKO is taking those precautions, because TKO, at this rate, we all thought that TKO was going to be a place for Vince McMahon to hide. Ari Emanuel removed Vince McMahon, pretty much pulled the rug out from under him, thank Christ. And now TKO is laying down the law that if anyone dares to try and pulled the shit that Vince McMahon pulled, then you are ultimately going to be cut, and we will not think twice about it. And I'm glad that they are taking that strategy. I'm glad that they're implementing that mentality into their business practices, because that is going to help weed out the people that should and should not be there. That is going to help be an indicator of who is good to have in a work environment like that. So I give props to TKO for implementing that mentality into their business practices. Brandon Thurston, he reported on Monday that TKO and Endeavor are buying shares from Vince McMahon. And I'm guessing that this has to do with what's going on with the sexual misconduct lawsuit. They are trying to remove any and all power that Vince McMahon has. Vince McMahon is essentially going to be gone once and for all. In two agreements, Endeavor is buying over 1.6 million shares for $142.6 million. And TKO is buying an additional 1.8 million plus for about $150 million, totaling nearly $300 million in shares that they are buying from Vince McMahon. I'm guessing Vince McMahon, he needs as much money as he can possibly get in terms of making sure he can keep his ass out of jail. Although I'm actually hoping that he does get put in jail, because he is an absolute piece of shit. He's an absolute piece of shit. But this must be another strategy that Endeavor and TKO is implementing to make sure that they are as far away from Vince McMahon as possible. And again, I don't have a single issue with this. I don't think anyone should have a single issue with this. If anything, the news, rumors, and reports, they're a hell of a lot more positive than whatever the fuck went on AEW and WWE TV this week. Moving on. Andrew Zarian. This is unfortunate. Andrew Zarian, he reported that Forbidden Door 3 will not be held at Arthur Ashe Stadium. And it was announced that AEW, they revealed the rest of their pay-per-view schedule. We already got Dynasty coming up in St. Louis. Then we got Double or Nothing coming up in Las Vegas, Nevada. We got Forbidden Door on June 30th. That is taking place in the UBS Arena in Long Island. Then you got London, UK. That's housing All In. And then a week after that, we got All Out in Chicago. Wrestle Dream is taking place on October 12th in the Tacoma, Washington Dome in Tacoma, Washington. Could we see the retirement of Bryan Danielson at that show? Full Gear is coming to Newark, New Jersey. I will be there. And then World's End is going to be on Saturday, December 28th in Orlando, Florida. And the reports regarding AEW revealing their pay-per-view schedule is as follows. AEW wanted to give the fans time to plan and prep. Wanted to give them time to plan and prep, so that way the fans will know what they're getting themselves into and where they're going to be going for the pay-per-views. You know something? This is something that I wish AEW would do with all of their shows. This is a great strategy. I've been preaching for God knows how long that AEW has horrible fucking marketing. But now that AEW has officially announced all the rest of their pay-per-view schedules, now this is going to get the word out there to the fans who will know where they're going to be. Where they're going instead of being left in the dark. I fucking hated when they announced Dynasty. I don't mind that Dynasty is a thing. I have no problem with them adding another pay-per-view. But the problem that I have is the fact that they gave the fans all but 7 weeks. 7 weeks to think about Dynasty. 7 fucking weeks. How are you going to announce a new pay-per-view with only 7 weeks to sell tickets? You should be announcing this pay-per-view 4 or 5 months in advance. You should have already announced the pay-per-view Dynasty back at World's End at the end of December. In no way, shape, or form should you have waited until Revolution a month and a half before the show in order to make things official. I hope that AEW continues to do this shit for all of their pay-per-views, and in addition to that, I hope that they continue to do this throughout all of their weekly shows too. AEW should announce their weekly shows in advance, 4 to 6 months, and they should have the tickets go on sale immediately after the announcement. They should not fucking wait. They should not fucking wait, and they should promote like they fucking mean it. Tony Khan's gotten very complacent with the marketing and promotion. So I really do hope that this is a strategy that AEW is going to implement going forward, not just with their pay-per-views, but with their weekly shows as well. How you doing, Midmo Smart? How you doing, El Capitan, Raf? How you doing? I greatly appreciate you stopping on by. Final Hoss, greatly appreciate you stopping on by. You are awesome. Moving on here. Seth Rollins, he was not on WWE TV. He was not on the Raw after WrestleMania. He was not on the SmackDown after WrestleMania this week. Nothing this week was done in relation to Seth Rollins. They barely even acknowledged Seth Rollins. Hula Grim, I don't hate you. I saw your first comment, all right? Focus on getting your funds so you can get a fucking t-shirt, all right? Seth Rollins, he was not shown on the Raw or the SmackDown after WrestleMania this week. I do have news on that. Ringside News spoke to a senior member of the WWE creative team to get an update on Seth Rollins. As you know, Seth Rollins was not seen. He was not present on the Raw or the SmackDown after WrestleMania. The creative team member that was talking to Ringside News reported that Seth Rollins limping was all a part of the storyline. Rollins has been nursing some injuries for a little bit, and he is set to take some time off. I have absolutely no issue with this at all, and I'm glad that he's taking time off. Seth Rollins, reportedly, when he was limping at WrestleMania, that was all a part of an angle. That was all a part of the storyline to help sell the fact that he was in a 45-minute match on night 1 of WrestleMania and then competed again on night 2. Rollins is reportedly taking time off. This is probably the best route for him. Rollins nearly went 1 year as the World Heavyweight Champion, probably the best World Heavyweight Championship run of his entire career in the WWE, and he was putting on bangers week in and week out. Seth Rollins was a part of some of the most hard-hitting, some of the most physically taxing matches of WWE's calendar year in the last 365 days. So there is no one who is more deserving of time off than Seth Rollins. And I'm glad he's taking some time off because not only is he going to heal up some injuries, but absence makes the heart grow fonder. Seth Rollins, when he is off of television, he is ultimately going to be missed by the fans. And it's going to be a big deal when he inevitably comes back. When that is, I don't know. I do not know when that is because, as we know, Seth Rollins, at this very moment, he has not signed a new deal, and his contract is coming up in June. I selfishly want him to leave, but I don't think that is going to happen. I think that Seth Rollins is going to stay within the WWE. When he's coming back, I do not know, but he is going to heal up some injuries, and then he should be back when the time is right. Dave Meltzer. He reported on a potential main event for WrestleMania 41. They have not yet announced the location for WrestleMania 41. WrestleMania 41, as we all know, is rumored to be taking place potentially in Minnesota. WrestleMania 41 could very well have a main event. After this past Monday, the WWE is potentially planning on doing Cody Rhodes versus The Rock at WrestleMania 41. And The Rock reportedly wants to work with Cody. Initially, he wanted to come back and he wanted to fight Roman Reigns, but after this past WrestleMania weekend, his mind has potentially changed, and we could be looking at The Rock versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship as one of the major matches for WrestleMania 41. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Now, I had a feeling that WWE was going to go forth with The Rock versus Cody Rhodes in some way, shape, or form. But at WrestleMania 41, I mean, come on. I can name you 2 matches that are much more suitable to main event WrestleMania 41 rather than Cody and The Rock. If you want to have Cody Rhodes in the main event, fine. But I mean, you have Randy Orton and CM Punk right there. If anything, I would go with CM Punk because that would be the story that you would be telling with CM Punk finally getting his WrestleMania main event and finally winning a world title in the main event of WrestleMania. Why is it that we need to go back to The Rock? I have no problem with The Rock being on TV, but if you are using The Rock in positions like this, taking away opportunities from younger talent that is more deserving to be there, talent that should have been there already, how is that beneficial to the WWE? Because you take a look at what happened on SmackDown last night. You take a look at WWE's means of crowning a new number 1 contender for Cody Rhodes, and I'm sitting there during the 2 triple threat matches, which were very good, I'm not going to lie, but I'm sitting there during the 2 triple threat matches and I'm thinking, how is it that any of these 6 guys should even be talked about in the same conversation as Cody Rhodes? None of them have been built up enough. None of them have a case as to why they should be challenging Cody Rhodes. How is it that AJ Styles, how is it that Santos Escobar and Kevin Owens, 3 individuals who lost, half of the field lost at WrestleMania, but yet here they are getting themselves world title opportunity matches? I don't understand. And we'll go in depth on that when we get into the SmackDown portion of the review. But why exactly is WWE planning The Rock versus Cody Rhodes? Does WWE really not have faith in anybody else? The Rock reportedly wants to work with Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41, and he's ditching Roman Reigns for Cody. I have no problem with WWE doing The Rock versus Cody Rhodes, but I cannot get behind the fact that WWE is deliberately putting The Rock in one of WrestleMania's main events again, when we've already seen The Rock main event WrestleMania numerous amounts of times. And in addition to that, WWE is not doing anything to fully invest their time, money, and effort into building up the next generation of talent. Who is left after Cody Rhodes? There's nobody. And do not give me the excuse of a Braun Breaker or a Carmelo Hayes or an Ilya Dragunov. They've built up no one. The only individual that is even in the same conversation as Cody right now is Gunther. And Gunther is not going to be a world champion right now. Rock versus Cody is not something that I can get behind. I'm sorry. I'll tell you what I can get behind, though. I can get behind WWE potentially signing Jacob Fatu. According to Fightful, Jacob Fatu is believed to have signed with the WWE. Jacob Fatu, I've seen what Jacob Fatu can do, and Jacob Fatu is an absolute fucking beast. He's a fucking woolly mammoth that's getting ready to tear everyone in his path to shreds. I love what Jacob Fatu can do. I'm actually shocked that it took a major wrestling promotion this fucking long, to realize how good Jacob Fatu really is. And Jacob Fatu being involved in WWE, that is going to make the Bloodline storyline even more interesting than it already is. And we'll talk about the Bloodline storyline because finally, after 1 year, the Bloodline storyline has some genuine intrigue to it. Again, we will go in depth when we get to the SmackDown portion of the review. But Jacob Fatu is someone that I can absolutely get behind. Jacob Fatu has been grinding on the independents for a long, long time. And once again, I will state, I am shocked that it took a major wrestling promotion this long to realize the value that Jacob Fatu has. With Jacob Fatu coming into the WWE, this is going to breathe new life into the Bloodline storyline, because the Bloodline storyline has not been good in a year. Now, with the addition of Tama Tonga that we saw on SmackDown, then potentially bringing in Jacob Fatu, we could potentially be looking down the barrel of a Bloodline War Games match. We could potentially get into a legit, and I mean a legit, Bloodline Civil War. Not that bullshit that we saw last year. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit that we saw last year. Whatever we saw last year was a bunch of garbage. Whatever we saw last year was nothing more than filler. What we saw was filler in order to get Roman Reigns through the summer because WWE foolishly kept the title on Roman Reigns. But Jacob Fatu is different. Jacob Fatu is going to breathe new life into the Bloodline storyline like we've never seen before. Jacob Fatu, along with Tama Tonga, they are going to create some genuine intrigue to a point where we don't know who is going to fall where. After Jimmy Uso got kicked out, we could potentially see Jey Uso get drafted over to SmackDown, and that storyline is going to be the main storyline on SmackDown. The Usos could reunite. Roman Reigns could come back. Roman and the Usos could fight. Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, and Tama Tonga. Maybe we see The Rock get inserted into things. We get a Bloodline War Games, and we potentially get a major match with Roman and Solo or Roman and The Rock at WrestleMania next year. So Jacob Fatu, I'm telling you, he is going to bring a lot of legitimacy to the company and to the Bloodline storyline. Speaking of signing with the WWE, Jacob Fatu, he has signed with the WWE. Tama Tonga, he has signed with the WWE. Drew McIntyre, seemingly, according to Fightful, Drew McIntyre has seemingly not re-signed with the WWE. Now, according to the people backstage in WWE, it is really no cause for worry that Drew McIntyre hasn't signed the new deal. But regardless of that, it is something to report on. Now, I am not sure where Drew McIntyre is going to go. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Drew McIntyre, but it does seem as though Drew McIntyre is looking to ride out the rest of his contract. It does seem like Drew McIntyre is looking to ride out the rest of his contract, and Drew McIntyre could very well follow suit with Seth Rollins, and he could very well follow suit with Becky Lynch, because Becky's also taking time off. Maybe we could see Drew McIntyre take some time off to spend some time with his family, because his family is ultimately going to be a major part into making his decision final. His family is ultimately going to be the end-all, be-all to see what's going to happen, whether he stays or whether he goes. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, Drew McIntyre, very, very unpredictable scenario. I can't give you a straightforward answer. It is all dependent on what Drew McIntyre wants to do, what he feels is best for him. Now, I personally still think that he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship at Clash at the Castle in Scotland, but that's just me. According to Aaron Varble from SE Scoops, Damian Priest and his Money in the Bank cash-in at WrestleMania 40 has been planned for the last 6 months. I'm actually glad that they did not plan to fuck over Damian Priest and his Money in the Bank cash-in. I'm very, very happy that WWE decided to invest full-time in Damian Priest, because Damian Priest, he is a fucking beast. Damian Priest is a beast at what he does, and he is more than deserving of a world championship. And now that he has the world championship, it is going to be very, very, very intriguing to see how they portray him as the world heavyweight champion. I assume that he is going to be in a major match at Backlash. We already have Jey Uso as the new number one contender. I'm assuming we're going to get Jey Uso versus Damian Priest at Backlash in France, and that's going to be Damian Priest's first official title defense. SE Scoops also came out with a report on the cold-hearted, handsome devil Hook. SE Scoops also reported that Hook is interested in exploring his options in free agency once his contract with AEW expires this year. Now, reportedly, someone in WWE said that they would be interested in having Hook. I'm not really sure what Hook is going to do. Again, similar to Drew McIntyre, it is all about what Hook feels is best for him. I'm not sure if he's going to stay in AEW because his father's in AEW. I'm not sure if he's going to go to WWE because he wants to attempt to try and conquer another world. I'm not sure if he wants to be a very well-rounded pro wrestler. I'm not sure what Hook's mindset is. Hook is a very reserved individual. So at this rate, I cannot give you a straightforward answer. However, I can tell you what Hook will do if he does sign elsewhere, because I don't see him going to TNA. If he's going to go anywhere else, he's going to go to WWE. I do believe that if Hook chooses to sign with the WWE, if he does indeed explore free agency following his AEW contract expiring, I do believe that Hook is going to do some good things in the WWE if he does sign with them. Hook is a very versatile individual. And as we speak right now, is he really going anywhere on AEW TV? As good as he is, and as great as his presentation has been, Hook is not going to be in a major position where he should be fighting for any championships like the International or the TNT Championship for at least another 2 years or so. There are other people who are higher up on the priority list than Hook. So if Hook wants to go and venture off into WWE to see if he can conquer that world, I would not mind it. I would personally love to see what Hook can do in an environment outside of All Elite Wrestling. Final two reports, and then we're going to get on out of here. Fightful has learned that there have been pitches from WWE Creative to continue the Wolf Dogs, that being Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin. There have been pitches from WWE to continue the Wolf Dogs on SmackDown now that Braun Breaker has officially finished up with NXT. Now, I personally would not mind that because I think the Wolf Dogs are fucking great. The Wolf Dogs are fucking awesome, if you want me to be quite honest with you. The Wolf Dogs have single-handedly resurrected Baron Corbin's career. And to be quite honest with you, I'm kind of pissed off that they gave the titles to the Wolf Dogs only to have them lose the titles to Nathan Frazer and Axiom legitimately 2 months later. That kind of got under my skin. I'm not really sure where the Wolf Dogs are going to go, but if you're going to leave Baron Corbin down in NXT, that would probably be beneficial for him. But if you bring the Wolf Dogs up to SmackDown, that right there is going to give both of them a sense of direction, because as we speak right now, as we speak, Braun Breaker is not going to be going anywhere in terms of the mid-card. And he's not going to be in a world title match anytime soon. Cody's going to hold that championship 8 to 12 months minimum. There's no reason why Cody Rhodes should be losing. I'm telling you, there should be no one, absolutely no one, that is going to be beating Cody Rhodes at any point in time in the next 8 to 12 months. So as far as Braun Breaker goes, he's either fighting for the U.S. title or he's fighting for the tag team titles. And as far as Braun Breaker goes, Braun Breaker shouldn't be fighting for the U.S. title because that title belongs to LA Knight. But if him and Baron Corbin are on SmackDown as the Wolf Dogs, that right there could very well offer a sense of direction for both individuals and make the tag team division that much more important. So I would not mind. I would not mind if the Wolf Dogs are a thing on SmackDown. And my final report is in regards to Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated reported a little tidbit of information from Nick Khan. Numerous contacts surrounding Nick Khan have said, and I quote from Nick Khan, that one of WWE's potential explorations is to engineer a collaboration with other professional wrestling promotions. As we saw this past WrestleMania weekend, we saw Shayna Baszler go over to Josh Barnett's GCW collaboration. She fought none other than Marsha Slamovic. Not really sure why I said it like that, but Marsha Slamovic. And many people said that it was a very good match. It was a very fun match. A very fun match, to say the least. Now, I'm not really sure how this is going to come about. I'm not sure who specifically they plan on collaborating with. But I do believe that if we do see something along those lines, this is going to change the outlook of WWE if it's done right. Because here's the thing. The problem with WWE and its reputations with collaborating with other wrestling promotions is the fact that WWE usually ends up monopolizing these wrestling promotions, and they take these wrestling promotions unto themselves. And that's not right. That's not right at all. If you're asking me, WWE does not know how to collaborate with professional wrestling promotions. But I do hope that with Nick Khan involved and Triple H involved, that this monopolization mentality is no more. Now, I am going to hold off on my reservations, but I do believe that there is a chance that we could move away from the monopolization mentality, because as we speak right now, the professional wrestling industry, its lifeblood is mainly the independents. Its lifeblood is the smaller companies, the companies that are underneath WWE and AEW, the companies like a Ring of Honor, like a New Japan, like an Evolve, like a New Japan Strong, like all these other independent promotions that are traveling all over the country. These independent promotions that are strictly kept within their states. Those independent promotions are the lifeblood for professional wrestling, especially in this era. And I'd like to hope that WWE realizes that. If WWE is indeed looking to collaborate with other promotions, I will state that I have my reservations, because in the past, WWE has been all about monopolizing the professional wrestling industry. And I hated that about WWE for a long, long time. I'd really like to hope that things have changed now with Triple H in there and Nick Khan wanting to collaborate with other wrestling promotions. If we saw one thing over the course of WrestleMania weekend with Shayna Baszler going to Josh Barnett's GCW collaboration, I'd like to believe that is step one towards changing the perception about WWE, pretty much showing everyone that WWE is not just here to monopolize the industry. They're here to offer the independents a bone. They're here to offer the independents leeway. They're here to acknowledge that the independents are the lifeblood of professional wrestling, especially in 2024. So I'm looking forward to some collaborations that WWE wants to do. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. I hope you guys have had a wonderful time thus far. I hope that you guys had a wonderful time thus far. Now we're going to get into the negatives. We're going to get into the negatives now, because I already showcased to you a lot of positives. I've showcased to you a lot of positives in terms of the news, rumors, and reports. Now it's time to go over the negatives. And there were a lot of negatives this week. Do not forget, to like, comment, and subscribe. Do not forget to share out the stream on all platforms of social media. And above all, do not forget, people, do not forget to go and hit those super chats and those super stickers. Send in the cash so that way I will continue to evolve and get better. Because let me tell you something, I've been doing this for almost 7 years now, unpaid. I'm doing it because I love this shit. I think I deserve a little bit of cash. I deserve just a little bit. Even if it's just 50 fucking cents, people. Even if it's just 50 cents. Please, be a little generous. Anyway. Raw after WrestleMania. There's been a lot of chatter regarding the Raw after WrestleMania. Some people were hyped up that, oh my God, it's Triple H's first Raw after WrestleMania. I'm sorry to tell you people, but the Raw after WrestleMania was as mid as you can get. Now, was it better than last year? I mean, of course it was better than last year, because last year's was perhaps one of the worst Raw after WrestleManias ever. That was probably the worst Raw after Mania ever since the pandemic Raw after WrestleMania 36 in 2020. Last year's Raw after WrestleMania was complete and utter dog shit. So listen, it was a very low bar. It was better than last year, don't get me wrong. But in terms of the overall feel and the overall energy, I mean, there was way too much of this. Way too much fucking talking, not enough wrestling. I can name you about maybe 1 or 2 matches on this show that ended up going over 10 minutes. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, how is this a Raw after WrestleMania? Where's the fucking energy? The first 45 minutes of the show was a fucking promo between Cody Rhodes and The Rock, where Cody Rhodes continued to look like a fucking pussy. And you had the crowd chanting, "This is awkward," when The Rock and Cody traded their respective... I'm sorry, how is that worthy of a Raw after WrestleMania? I don't understand. And then you got the NXT call-ups, right? You got the NXT call-ups, and the NXT call-ups are Roxanne Perez and Ilya Dragunov. And instead of giving them a full-blown showcase, right? Instead of giving them a full-blown showcase, you gave them a full-blown showcase, and that would have, my God, that would have done wonders for them. But no, you give them each 4 minutes. Roxanne Perez got 2 minutes. Dragunov got 4 minutes. I understand that they had matches over the weekend, but holy fucking shit. Holy fucking shit. You're telling me that you honestly could not have given them a full 10-minute match showcase, especially in that first hour. You couldn't have given Nakamura and Dragunov an extra 7 more minutes in that match and really showcase to everyone what Dragunov is all about? Really fucking stupid. Hooligrim just became a member. Thank you very much, Hooligrim. Hooligrim, you are an absolute fucking beast if I've ever seen one. Thank you very much. Hooligrim knows what's up, people. Hooligrim knows what's up. Anyway, let's get into the specifics here. Triple H kicked off the show. 20,000 people in attendance. Crowd was chanting, "Thank you, Hunter." So he introduced Cody Rhodes after he said that this past weekend was the greatest WrestleMania ever. No, it wasn't. He introduced Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes came out. Triple H played a celebratory video package as the crowd chanted, "You deserve it." All of a sudden, The Rock came out after Cody Rhodes was giving his props to Roman Reigns. The Rock came out. Crowd was chanting, "Undertaker." The crowd actually booed whenever Rock tried to put the microphone to his mouth. It's almost as if The Rock was channeling his inner Dominic Mysterio, if you will. So The Rock Rock, every time he went to speak, the crowd was chanting, Rocky sucks. Crowd was chanting, shut the fuck up. Crowd was chanting, asshole. So the Rock took turns holding each other's belts with Cody. Crowd was chanting, this is awkward. The crowd, they didn't really know how to react to this. So The Rock then gave Cody Rhodes his flowers. Look at this. Hula Grim is a fucking beast. Hula Grim is a fucking beast. $5 super chat right there. Thank you for being the first one to have me on your platform. Hula Grim, it was an absolute honor of mine. And you are going to be coming back on my platform next Monday because you and we're going to be talking about Dynasty. The pleasure is all mine, brother. The pleasure is all mine. So The Rock and Cody, they traded each other's belts back. The Rock then said, you know who else had a smile on their face at WrestleMania? Mama Rhodes and your daddy in heaven. Not sure if my dad was proud of me with all the bad stuff I did, but you know what? I don't care. And you got a brand new belt. You got a brand new belt. Can I hold that belt? Cody Rhodes and The Rock, they traded their belts. Rock then said, this just feels right. Thank you, Cody. The Rock then said, it's time for The Rock to go away. Time for The Rock to go away. But I'll tell you what. Your story with Roman Reigns is finished. But I beat you at night 1 of WrestleMania, and our story is just beginning. I'm going to give you something. No fireworks. He placed an item in Cody's hand. We don't know what it was. Some people have been thinking about their theories. But The Rock goes, don't you ever break my heart again. If you smell what the final boss is cooking. And that was that. Now, I understand what they were doing here. They wanted to give us a tense moment. They wanted to give us a moment that we would never forget. They wanted to give us a moment in time that will be remembered forever. Blah, 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 blah. I understand the route that they're going here, but I can't help but feel that this is all nothing more than a desperation tactic to try and keep the heat that they had from WrestleMania season. And I'm going to explain to you what that means. It's clear as day where they're going. They're setting up The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. When? I don't know. Dave Meltzer is saying WrestleMania 41. Some people have been pitching the idea that this is going to happen at SummerSlam because The Rock, now that he's going away to film a movie, he should be back by the end of July, right? I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I know is that WWE has gotten themselves into a really shitty scenario. WWE has gotten themselves into a really shitty scenario, and now WWE is looking to mask the problem that they have by putting Cody Rhodes and The Rock in a program, or at least setting them up in a program to try and keep the fans interesting, because nowadays the WWE fans, minus what happened with Cody Rhodes, the WWE fan base will bend over, drop their pants, and just take the WWE dick right up their ass. I'm going to tell you all the real reason why WWE is setting up The Rock versus Cody, and it's not because it's a major match, okay? It's clear as day what WWE's problem is. Based on what happened this past Monday on Raw, WWE is setting up The Rock versus Cody Rhodes at some point, whenever that may be, whether that may be at SummerSlam or WrestleMania. They're setting up The Rock versus Cody Rhodes because they got nobody else. There's no one outside of Orton and Punk for Cody Rhodes to feud with. No one outside of those two guys for Cody Rhodes to feud with and make the match feel important and unpredictable. And it's all on WWE because WWE, they didn't build up anybody else. WWE built up nobody else to fight Cody Rhodes, and half of their fucking roster, or at least half the roster in the main event scene, they all look like schmucks when you compare them to a guy like Roman or Cody. That's why they're doing Rock versus Cody Rhodes. It's really fucking frustrating. It really is. It really is frustrating to see this shit because I know for a fact that WWE could do a hell of a lot better. I know that WWE could do a hell of a lot better if they just put effort into their programming. All they need to do is build people up through wins. All they need to do is build credible challengers for their champions. And they do not know how to do that. Everyone, legitimately everyone that we saw in the triple threat matches last night on SmackDown, they realistically all should be fighting for the United States Championship. Never mind the World Championship. I don't understand how anyone can get behind this when this is nothing more than a desperation tactic to keep the heat from WrestleMania season, and WWE has nobody else for Cody to feud with outside of Orton and Punk. So now what are they doing? We're getting AJ and LA Knight next week, a rematch from WrestleMania. We're going to get 50-50 booking. AJ Styles is going to win, and now AJ Styles is going to go fight Cody, essentially rendering LA Knight's victory at WrestleMania useless. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov made his Monday Night Raw debut, and Ilya Dragunov looked like an absolute fucking beast. The problem is that this match barely got 5 minutes. Dragunov wins, and Nakamura essentially looked like a glorified enhancement talent. And then there's people that wonder why Kazuchika Okada did not sign with the WWE. Look at Nakamura. Judgment Day. Judgment Day came down to the ring. They introduced Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. By the way, Damian Priest looked fucking great. We already know how good Rhea Ripley looks. Damian Priest looked like a fucking beast with the World Heavyweight Championship. It's almost like that title was fucking made for Damian Priest. He looked fucking awesome. He looked fantastic. So the crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." All of a sudden, we had R-Truth, like a fucking retard. R-Truth came out, held up the Raw Championship. Now we're going back to R-Truth wanting to be in the fucking Judgment Day. Miz came out. He introduced the Awesome Truth as the new Raw Tag Team Champions, bowed and challenged them to a tag team title rematch. Truth then said that there's only 3 of us, me, Miz, and the guy we can't see. I'm pretty sure everyone already knew who the fuck that was. JD McDonough then accepted the challenge. The Judgment Day attacked, and we were off to the races with a 6-man tag team match. How you doing, Lisa? I greatly appreciate you stopping on by. Greatly appreciate you stopping on by. Hooligrim just became a member. Hooligrim just became a member. I'm not sure what status he chose. I'm not sure if he chose the beginner status. I'm not sure if he chose the Eye of the Storm status. I'm not sure if he chose DJ Storms approved, but I guess I'll find out. But Lisa, I'm monetized now, so you can either become a member or you can send me super chats and super stickers. Send them in, please. Send them in, please. I feel like I've been busting my ass long enough to earn me some dough. Aight? But I hope that you're having a good time down in South Carolina at Myrtle Beach. So we had the Judgment Day versus Awesome Truth and a mystery partner. As soon as R-Truth said what he said, I knew who it was going to be. It was going to be John Cena. So John Cena comes on out. John Cena comes out, does the whole five knuckle shuffle shit. You can't see me. 3 attitude adjustments and a win. This shit sucked. This shit fucking sucked. This was a complete shit match. A complete waste of time. I'm really getting sick and fucking tired of this shit. I'm really getting sick and fucking tired of this shit. Why exactly do we have John Cena? Why is it that John Cena and The Rock are both on the Raw after WrestleMania and they're taking up spots from individuals that should be pushed? Why is it that John Cena is still getting a showcase off of Monday Night Raw, and JD McDonough still looks like a fucking jobber when he's probably one of the best pound-for-pound wrestlers on the Raw roster? Then you got R-Truth, like a fucking idiot, coming out, still trying to act like he's in the Judgment Day, after we already established that he's not in the fucking Judgment Day. End this fucking storyline. And above all else, we need to get rid of the old guard. The old guard is what is holding WWE back. They may very well be selling out arenas, but at the end of the day, their television product, it is not hitting on all cylinders. It's not. WWE needs to get their shit together, and they need to get rid of all of these fucking nostalgia acts. This shit with R-Truth and The Miz and the Judgment Day, this shit sucks donkey cock. And by the way, we barely got any build for Backlash. You want to know how much build we got for Backlash? Liv Morgan attacked Rhea Ripley in the back. Liv Morgan attacked Rhea Ripley in the back, and Liv Morgan threw a chair at Rhea Ripley's head. That was it. That was the most build that we got for Backlash. We're probably going to get Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley at Backlash. Backlash, listen, I will say this. Backlash is looking good. Backlash looks good. We got Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. We got ourselves Cody Rhodes potentially versus AJ Styles. We got ourselves potentially versus... who else? We got ourselves... I think it's the New Catch Republic. I think New Catch Republic will probably win the #1 contenders match next week. We got New Catch Republic versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. We got ourselves a decent card for Backlash. But I mean, holy shit. They are not doing anything. They are legit not doing anything to get anyone excited. The build is non-existent virtually. WWE should have been firing on all cylinders, making 1,000% sure that we got ourselves a legit, and I mean a legit fucking build for Backlash. But no, let's just focus on the draft. Indy Hartwell versus Roxanne Perez. No one gave a shit. No one gave a shit. I love Roxanne. I do. I love Roxanne Perez, but nobody gave a shit. Women's division continues to be a waste of time. It's literally 2 steps forward, 4 steps back. And they're gigantic steps back. We get ourselves 2 great women's wrestling matches over WrestleMania weekend with Io and Bayley and Rhea and Becky. And then on Monday Night Raw, 2-minute women's match. No one gave a shit. Roxanne Perez wins with Pop Rocks. That was that. Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn came out to celebrate his Intercontinental Championship win. I love Sami Zayn. I do. I love Sami Zayn, but again, too much fucking talking. Where is the wrestling? I didn't watch Monday Night Raw to watch 17 fucking promos where each promo takes up 15 minutes of television time. I came to watch professional wrestling. Give me a fucking break with this storytelling garbage. Sami Zayn came out to celebrate his IC title win. The crowd was singing his theme song. The crowd was chanting, "You deserve it." All of a sudden, out came Imperium. Ludwig Kaiser called Sami Zayn a bum. He said that we are here to make this right. Hologram, you can tell story without 17,000 promos. You can tell story without 17,000 fucking promos, okay? You're telling me that Christian Cage and Adam Copeland didn't have any story in AEW, and the majority of that feud was told through wrestling. We don't need 20-minute promos on a weekly basis to tell story, okay? You want a 20-minute promo? Give me one 20-minute promo. Give me some backstage segments. Give me some wrestling matches. We need to balance everything out. We do not need 90% of the fucking feud being promos and 10% of it being wrestling. That's not pro wrestling. You want that shit? Go and watch a fucking Broadway play. Go and watch The Walking Dead. Go and watch The Last of Us. Go and watch the next latest Marvel movie that comes out. I'm here to watch a sport. And if you're not here to watch a sport, get the fuck out. That goes for everyone. Chad Gable came out. We got ourselves a tag team match. Chad Gable and Sami Zayn versus Imperium. Decent little match. Really wasn't anything over the top. Decent little match here. Chad Gable ended up getting the win after Sami Zayn hit the haluva kick, and then we got a chaos theory, and that was that. Next week, we got Sami Zayn and Chad Gable for the Intercontinental Championship. Should be fun. Don't really understand why that isn't being saved for Backlash, but who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I? Chelsea Green. Yes, I know WWE copies Marvel anyway. I know WWE copies Marvel anyway. And that's what sucks about them. It's a new era, right? I'm still trying to decipher how this is a new fucking era here. You know something else? The more that I watch modern day WWE, is it better than what is going on under Vince? Oh, God, you bet your ass it is. You bet your ass it's better than what is going on under Vince. But I'm telling you, the more that I watch this version of WWE and what Triple H is doing, I'm thinking to myself, my God, I would legitimately give up my left testicle to have NXT Black and Gold back. I wish upon a fucking star. I do. I wish upon a fucking star that we could get NXT Black and Gold back. That was legitimately the best era of professional wrestling since the Attitude Era. Some people would even say that it was better than the Attitude Era. That era of pro wrestling was absolutely untouchable. Nothing will ever top that. Nothing that happened before it and nothing that happened after it will ever top NXT Black and Gold. And the fact that that's gone, it still pisses me off. Yes, I know. They already sent the Final Testament back down to NXT. I was watching, I know. Ironically, the Final Testament being on NXT, that's probably the best place for them. That's the crazy part about it. That's probably the best place for them. Listen, I know NXT has been giving us some black and gold vibes here and there. I saw some of the matches on TakeOver Stand and Deliver, or just NXT Stand and Deliver, not NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver. Some of the matches at Stand and Deliver, they were NXT Black and Gold-esque matches. Like the triple threat match for the North American title, that match was fucking fantastic. Tag team match, fucking fantastic. Dragunov and Tony D'Angelo, very good wrestling match. So, listen, they give us glimpses, but, dude, it's not the same. It's not the same. Drew McIntyre came out to cut a promo. He said that what happened at WrestleMania last night was complete and utter BS. What happened was complete and utter BS. He said that it's all because of that prick CM Punk. He called CM Punk a prick, and he said that bondage Undertaker, Damian Priest, cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase and stole my moment from me. He said that Priest screwed up my moment, and nothing will change because Damian Priest is nothing more than a transitional champion. So we ended up getting a fatal four-way match. we ended up getting a fatal four-way match, and it was Bronson Reed, Jey Uso, Drew McIntyre, and Ricochet, number one contenders match to see who was going to fight Damian Priest. Now, personally, I would have gone for Backlash. I would have gone for Backlash with Ricochet and Damian Priest. I would have gone for the Backlash event, and I would have absolutely given Ricochet an opportunity. Now, listen, Ricochet is realistically only being pushed because AEW is making Will Ospreay into a big deal. Let's be honest here. But I'm happy that Ricochet is being pushed. And if you're asking me, I would have done Ricochet versus Damian Priest. But you know what? I will take Jey Uso. I'll take Jey Uso because Jey Uso is very good. And I am going to be completely fine with Damian versus Jey. So we get this fatal four-way match. And we ended up getting a good match. It was a good match for what it was. And we got ourselves Jey Uso getting the opportunity at Damian Priest, potentially at Backlash. So we got some crazy shit left, right, and center. Damian Priest, he was nowhere to be found. We had a spear by Jey on Reed. Drew then saved it. Drew then tossed Jey off of the top, and Reed powerbombed Ricochet onto Drew. Reed covered. Ricochet kicked out. Bronson Reed with a shoulder tackle to Drew off the apron. Glasgow kiss. Bronson Reed was laid out on the table. We had a tope suicida by Jey onto Drew. And in one of the best spots of the year thus far, Ricochet springboard 450 to the outside, onto the table, onto Reed, and both men are effectively taken out of the equation. Excellent spot. Excellent spot. We then had Drew McIntyre going for the Claymore, but CM Punk came out of nowhere. He held Drew's foot. Jey with a spear and the Uso splash, and Jey Uso wins it. And this was easily the best thing on the show. Jey Uso is the new number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I do not have a single issue with it. And more likely than not, that is your match that is taking place at Backlash. We'll see what happens. Should be a good match. It should be a solid first match for Damian Priest. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. But this Raw after WrestleMania, very mid. Very, very mid. It did not do what it needed to do in order to continue to build towards Backlash. And it really kind of wasted WWE's momentum from WrestleMania weekend. It really did. It wasted WWE's momentum from WrestleMania weekend. And I'm not sure what they are going to do. All I can hope for is this draft is going to build some genuine intrigue. Although I've been preaching for a long time that the draft needs to go away. The draft really isn't doing anything. But then again, who the fuck am I? That was Raw. Let's talk about AEW Dynamite. First of all, I don't know what the fuck happened from March to April, but clearly, AEW did not hit all the right buttons this week. Rampage and Dynamite, they did not feel as important as they should have felt, and the only thing I can chalk that up to is Tony Khan is falling into the same trap that WWE fell into. WWE's problem for many years has always been, and I've preached this for a long time, and it is held true to this day, even with Triple H in charge. WWE's main problem is that they're lazy. They get complacent. I don't want to say that Tony Khan is lazy, but he has become way too comfortable in the position that he's in. And if you want me to be real here, what CM Punk said on his podcast what CM Punk said on his podcast. CM Punk said, AEW is always going to exist as long as Tony Khan wants to pour money into it. They're never going away. And some people are coming up with these crazy-ass theories of, oh, Tony Khan's father is going to cut him off. No, he's not. No, he's fucking not. Who do you think is going to inherit Shad Khan's fortune when he's no longer walking among us? It's going to be his son, Tony. Tony Khan is never going to be cut off. Matter of fact, when Shad Khan officially passes away, Tony Khan's going to become even richer. Tony Khan is going to become even richer. Tony Khan is never, and I mean this, he is never going to run out of money. Never. But the problem is, it's because of that fact. It's because of the fact that Tony Khan has an unlimited supply of cash that he has gotten way too comfortable with placing anything on the show, placing anything on a Dynamite or anything on a Collision, some shit that doesn't even connect to what is going on television, shit that isn't as structured as it should be. Tony Khan has become way too complacent with putting shit out there on TV that doesn't connect to the current storylines on AEW TV and thinking that he can get away with that because, hey, I have an unlimited supply of money. I'm never going broke. And listen, Tony Khan's in a great position, and I'm glad that he's in a position where he's never going to go broke. I'm glad that he's in a position where AEW is always going to be around because AEW is better for the industry. But that doesn't give him a right to just coast through his shows. That's always been my problem with WWE, the fact that they just coast through their shows. Tony Khan is falling into that trap. Tony Khan is falling into a trap of complacency. Never mind the fact that he doesn't market his shows the way that he should. Never mind that. Now, you're not even putting 138% of your effort into your television show? I'm sorry, that is a complete fucking miss. Not to say that this week's Dynamite was the worst Dynamite ever. Not to say that this was bad. Trust me, I know what a bad show is. I saw SmackDown and Raw throughout 2018 and 2019. Those days were fucking insufferable. I lived through the days where Roman Reigns was being dumped dog food on him by Baron Corbin. I lived through the days where Sami Zayn brought out 3 men dressed in drag and pretended they were Bobby Lashley's sisters. I know what bad is. I lived through the days where Jinder Mahal and Roman Reigns were feuding. I know what a bad show is. There was some decent material on this show, similar to Raw, but at the end of the day, this Dynamite did not have a sense of urgency, nor did it have that energy that we know it should have. And that's a fucking problem. Samoa Joe and Dustin Rhodes, they were set to kick off the show. But Swerve Strickland attacked Samoa Joe. Now this was a positive thing that happened on the show. Swerve Strickland, he attacked Samoa Joe and speared him through a table at ringside. And the match between himself and Dustin, Joe and Dustin, didn't even get started. Now this was a positive. This was exactly what needed to happen. This is exactly what needed to happen because you can't have Samoa Joe look like a beast. You can't have Samoa Joe look like a beast and then Swerve Strickland not attempt to get one back at him. You can't do that. You can't make Swerve look like a pussy. Then you got the same exact scenario that you got with Cody Rhodes and The Rock heading into WrestleMania, where The Rock was essentially the final boss and Cody Rhodes was a fucking pushover. So I'm glad that they did this. Adam Copeland and Penta El Cero Miedo. This was for the TNT Championship. You know what's frustrating? What's frustrating is the fact that this show actually started off pretty decent. And then it went downhill. Adam Copeland and Penta. This was for the TNT Championship, and this was a very good match. This was probably the best thing on the show, if we're going to be quite honest. This was easily the best thing on the show. So, Penta, right out of the gate, hit a spear on Adam Copeland. So, it turned into a game of one-upsmanship pretty quickly. Copeland and Penta, they were trading head scissor takedowns, which looked very nice. We had both men hitting a clothesline on each other. Penta then with a sling blade and a tope con hero. Both men were down. The referee counted. Copeland beat the count. Both men were now up on the apron. Penta with a PK. Coming back from a second commercial, we had a backstabber for a 2 by Penta. We had an electric chair, and Copeland dropped Penta face first into the mat with an electric chair. So, afterwards, both men were on the apron. This was a great spot right here. Both men were on the apron, and Penta charged at Copeland. Copeland caught him in a power slam on the apron. Back in the ring, after Copeland accidentally speared Alex Abrahantes, we had Penta with a code red, avalanche code red. Copeland kicked out. Penta then with a springboard off the middle ropes. Copeland with a spear in midair. And Copeland retains the TNT Championship in what was a very good match with himself and Penta. Now, I want to give my props to Adam Copeland here, because Adam Copeland is a guy that has absolutely nothing to prove. Adam Copeland has nothing to prove. He is a bona fide Hall of Famer everywhere that he goes. Adam Copeland is an individual that doesn't need to do anything. All he needs to do is sit back and relax and enjoy his retirement life. But instead, Copeland willingly chooses to go out there, and he willingly chooses to evolve with whoever he's fighting. He's out there doing head scissors, leapfrogs, power slams on the aprons. He's doing shit that he wasn't even doing in WWE. And that right there, that is something that I respect. Anyone that tells you that Adam Copeland's run in AEW has been a failure, you are a complete fucking idiot. Do not let anyone tell you that Adam Copeland's run in AEW has been anything but a success. Adam Copeland is doing great in AEW. So the lights go out. The lights come back on, and it's Julia Hart in the ring. Brody King attacks. Hart is then attacked by Willow. Willow and Copeland end up standing tall. And next week on Dynamite, we're getting ourselves a mixed tag team match. It is going to be Copeland and Willow taking on Julia Hart and Brody King ahead of their matches at AEW Dynasty. Young Bucks, they sat down. This was the talk of the town for everyone. This was the talk of the town. People wanted to know what the deal was. Is it a troll job or is it the real thing? So Nicholas and Matthew Jackson, they pretty much set the table. They were discussing the tag team title tournament. They discussed how they had to lick their wounds from their match at All In. Matthew then talked about the scapegoat, Jack Perry. By the way, I need to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling Windy City Riot, because Jack Perry, holy shit, Jack Perry, the crowd reaction for Jack Perry was fucking unbelievable. I need to go out of my way to watch that shit. Jack Perry may have just become a made man. Jack Perry may very well be a made man after last night in Chicago. So we had Jack Perry, the scapegoat, being mentioned. We then had the Bucks throwing a shot at CM Punk. my man, Raphael, this is why I do this shit. Acknowledge the final boss of the IWC. You damn right, I am the final boss of the IWC. Women want me, men want to be me. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So they threw a shot at CM Punk. And they talked about how Punk was the individual that ultimately was responsible for them losing to FTR. Pretty much they were trying to weave this footage into the storyline, and they made it an excuse. They made this shit an excuse as to why they lost to FTR at All In. They also implied that FTR, they were responsible for creating this monster. They were the masterminds behind this whole thing because they did not want to take the loss to the Young Bucks. They did not want to take the loss to the Young Bucks. So that incident, according to Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, caused them to be distracted. So they played the footage. And it was indeed the real footage, and it showed CM Punk being the aggressor. CM Punk threw a punch, he shoved Jack Perry, and he choked him out, and it had to be broken up by multiple people in and around the area. And just before he walked off of camera, you could see him getting ready to lunge at Tony Khan. So needless to say, Punk clearly left out some details. And CM Punk, even though he did acknowledge that he choked Jack Perry out, CM Punk clearly was exposed as a liar. Unfortunately, the majority of the IWC did not really care for that, and it's actually quite pathetic, but, you know, that's the IWC for you. So after that, after the footage, Punk and Perry, they were separated. We had the Young Bucks saying, after that, you had the audacity to extend your hands, and that incident, a high school scrap, threatened to take down our biggest show of all time. So Matthew said, this caused them to lose on their big night. And then they ask us to shake their hands. We ain't shaking any hands, you pricks. So afterwards, FTR immediately came out to the ring and they cut a promo. Cash said the Young Bucks are just coming up with excuses as to why they lost at Wembley. Cash said that he was pissed that they're showing videos from 8 months ago. They can't get over the fact that they lost at All In. I am sick of you petty little bitches, said Cash Wheeler. Dax then discussed that he doesn't disagree with the Bucks when they say that without AEW, we would probably be unemployed and I'd probably still be shaving Cash Wheeler's back. However, FTR has eclipsed the Young Bucks. Many people will argue that to be true. And you know what? If you claim that to be, I would not argue with you. I would not argue with you at all because let's be honest here. FTR and their legacy, realistically speaking, the last couple years of FTR has really outshined what the Young Bucks have been doing. So I would not be opposed to anyone saying that FTR has eclipsed the Young Bucks. I wouldn't. So Dax Harwood said, you lost all the care for AEW, and now all you care about is your EVP status. In the back, all of those men and women that want to be here, we will build this place for the future of professional wrestling and for all the people that spend their hard-earned money on one ticket to get a little taste of the action, to get lost in our drama, to get lost in our action. And if you don't want to be a part of that, then go home, because we got this. This is about the tag team titles. You may have built this foundation, but we'll put the roof on top of that house and then blow it right back off. Top guys out. Now, here's what I will say. I do believe that people are making a much bigger deal out of it than it really needs to be made. A lot of people are just blowing this shit out of proportion, more so than I would have ever expected. Now, I will get the positives out of the way first. I said, and I quote, that AEW needs to use this shit and weave it into the storyline and make the match between FTR and the Bucks feel more important because of this. They did just that. And they had FTR cut a promo in response to what happened 8 months ago. They had FTR respond to the Bucks. They did exactly what they needed to do. And I'm glad that they did what they needed to do. This is also going to be a gateway for Jack Perry to return. I would be shocked if Jack Perry does not show up at Dynasty. However, I ask, was it needed? Was it needed? I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with it wasn't needed because even though it exposed CM Punk, what it did do, it exposed the mindless inbreds of the IWC, and it just gave these fucking retards on social media more of a reason to hate AEW, even though all of these individuals are pretty much paid shills for WWE. I would not even be shocked if they're not even paid at all and they're just fucking shills. A lot of these individuals, a lot of these accounts on social media, they all tweet the exact same tweet verbatim. There's literal picture evidence. There is physical evidence on social media that showcase all of these accounts, all of these AEW hate accounts that tweet the same shit verbatim over and over and over again. I would not have acknowledged it because now you're just giving these mindless inbreds, these fucking people that don't have any brain cells whatsoever, these people that do not even know how to brush their fucking teeth correctly, you're giving these people more ammo. You're giving these people more shit to try and twist into narratives against you. And these people that go off into blind, rageful hatred tangents on AEW, these people, they're not human beings. They're pathetic little creatures. You're giving them more ammo by acknowledging this shit. So even though it made sense from a storyline perspective and you did the right thing by weaving it into the storyline, it was not necessary in the long run because now a lot of people, including some of the talent backstage, according to the reports, feel like this was a wound that was closed and now you're reopening the wound, all because of some comments that CM Punk stated on the podcast with Ariel Helwani. If CM Punk said shit that was wrong, and trust me, there was some shit in the podcast that he said that was fucking incorrect. There was a lot of stupid shit that CM Punk said in the podcast that was incorrect, but not the entire podcast. Half of the podcast was CM Punk coming off rather intelligent. It was typical Phil Brooks material. He sounded very intelligent and professional at some points. He sounded like a fucking idiot at some point. He sounded like a crybaby at some point, and he sounded like someone with legitimate gripes at some point. It was a 50-50 type of podcast, but you're choosing to acknowledge only half of the podcast. You're choosing to acknowledge only half of the interview, and you're choosing to ignore the actual problems that he laid out, and ultimately you're just giving your haters more ammo. You're ultimately feeding into the haters and giving them more blind narratives to shit on AEW. Now, is this the beginning of the end for AEW? No, it's not. So please cut the shit there. But when you look back on this, when people look back on this, people are going to ask the question, was this necessary? The answer is no. It was not necessary and it was not needed. It was not necessary and it was not needed. And the one thing that I really hope is that even though he's not publicly acknowledging it, I'd like to hope that Tony Khan really learned his lesson from this shit and we'll never see shit like this again. Going forward, they should never do shit like this again. Going forward, what they need to do is they need to focus on what they need to focus on. That is structuring your shows correctly. That is putting shit on the show that makes sense. That is putting out proper, and I mean proper, branding, promotional, and marketing tactics that is going to get the word out for your shows as good as you could possibly get it out. And don't worry about whatever fucking bullshit that people say outside of your company. Even though the storyline ended up getting enhanced, in the long term, it was not necessary, and going forward, they should never do anything like this again. Because all you're doing is giving your haters, all you're doing is giving the fucking trolls more ammunition. And at the end of the day, the sad part about it is that people are actually stupid enough to believe the fucking trolls. That's what I hate about social media, because the facts go right over people's heads and it ultimately turns into a popularity contest. And if you want me to be quite honest with you, this screwed up the flow. It screwed up the flow to the show. It, honest to God, screwed up the flow to the show. Will Ospreay, he came out to cut a promo. Now this was good. This was some good shit. This I had absolutely no issue with. And matter of fact, I'm glad that Will Ospreay brought this one up. So Will Ospreay said that there is a rumor that I am afraid of the grind. Well, you know something? I travel from the UK and the US every week and deliver some of the best wrestling matches on the planet. There's only one man that is saying this, and this man only holds his position because he was grinding on the boss's daughter. He is the last person to talk about the grind. Now, Bryan Danielson, you have challenged me, and better men have tried and they have failed, but you are Bryan Danielson. I can't call myself the best wrestler in the world until after AEW Dynasty. This is AEW, where the best wrestle, and it's time to show everyone why I am the ace of AEW. My name is Will Ospreay, and I am on another level. Now, this promo was excellent. I had absolutely no issue with this. And for all of you saying that, well, why is Will Ospreay? Why is he taking a shot at Triple H? Triple H never mentioned him by name. Who the fuck was he talking about? You mindless fucking inbreds. Who the fuck was Triple H talking about? Oh, he was speaking in general. Speaking in general, my ass. Who was he talking about? Lee Moriarty? Action Andretti? Rocky fucking Romero? I love all those guys, don't get me wrong, but who the fuck was he talking about? Of course he was talking about Will Ospreay. Guess what? If Will Ospreay signs with WWE, Triple H would have never made that comment. Please, cut the shit. Triple H took a dig at Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay had every reason to clap back. Please, stop being a WWE cocksucker. Stop. Chris Jericho, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata, they took on Shane Taylor Promotions. This was a filler match if I've ever seen it. The only thing that came out of this match that was worth a shit was the fact that Chris Jericho, he pulled Hook down and he was arguing with Hook. He was trying to talk to Hook about how Shibata was not following the plan, and that ultimately led to Lee Moriarty getting the victory for Shane Taylor Promotions over Jericho, Shibata, and Hook. So Jericho clearly is turning heel, but if I was to tell you, hey, are you going to invest your time in this? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. The match wasn't anything of substance, and ultimately, all it did was continue to prolong the inevitable, which is a Chris Jericho heel turn. Kazuchika Okada, he took on a local jobber. Again, a waste of a match. Quick and simple, in and out. That was that. Okada then took the mic, and he said that he accepts Pac's challenge. Out came Pac. The Young Bucks attacked. The Bucks were then swarmed by FTR, but ultimately, it was Okada bringing in a steel chair that equalized the fight, or in this case, it swung the fight in favor of the Elite. Okada then bashed Pac in the head with a chair as FTR, they were given the EVP trigger. And that was that. Now, the match was a waste of time. The brawl was fine. The brawl afterwards was fine, and I could see a six-man tag team match coming, which should be intriguing. Renee Paquette. She interviewed Toni Storm. She was toasting to Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa ended up coming out, and this was pretty quick. All this was Toni Storm throwing champagne in Thunder Rosa's face, and then Toni Storm wiped the face paint off of Thunder Rosa's face. I'm actually kind of pissed that they did not give them the opportunity to cut a promo, because I would have loved to have heard Thunder Rosa clap back at Toni Storm, especially considering that this is a big match that we got going on at Dynasty. But who the fuck am I? Mariah May, she took on Anna Jay. Didn't really give a shit. Pretty standard match. Mariah May won. Anna Jay, then she choked out Mariah May, which gave way to Mina Shirakawa, who was Mariah May's former tag team partner in Stardom, known as Rose Gold. She came out to run off Anna Jay, and afterwards she made out with Mariah May, and the entire IWC collectively lost their shit. Mercedes Moné, she was interviewed by Alex Jones. She was discussing her history with Willow and how she always has a plan before the lights go out, and she was beaten down by a couple of mystery assailants. I don't know who, but the fact that Mercedes Moné is not wrestling until Double or Nothing, the fact that you are going to give her a TBS championship match right out of the gate, you're not even having her compete. I'm sorry. That shit is fucking inexcusable. You know when Mercedes should have competed? Mercedes should have fought back at Worcester. She should have fought at the Worcester event in Massachusetts, and we should have gotten Mercedes versus Sky Blue. Mercedes Moné should be winning matches en route to getting a TBS championship match. We should not have Mercedes Moné in a position where she is just gifted a title opportunity. I don't give a shit what the excuse is. In no way, shape, or form should we be in a scenario where Mercedes Moné is not in a position in which she is just cutting promos all the way up until Double or Nothing. That is inexcusable. Completely and utterly inexcusable. Main event. Really nothing much of anything. A decent little match here with Joe and Dustin. This was done as no other reason other than to give Joe a win, and then out comes Swerve. Swerve then took the chain, and he hit Samoa Joe right in the face with a chain, and he took the world championship, held the world championship up high, and that was pretty much that. That's how the show went off the air. The energy just wasn't there. The energy really died after the first hour, and there wasn't a sense of urgency. There wasn't a sense of urgency. The whole all-in footage airing was completely unnecessary. It did not feel as important as it should have felt, especially considering that March was perhaps their best month since September of 2021. Rather disappointing, if you ask me. Very, very, very disappointing. SmackDown. Ironically, if you could believe it, SmackDown was the best show of the week. SmackDown was actually the best show of the week. Now, that's not saying much because there wasn't anything to really invest your time in this week in terms of pro wrestling, but SmackDown ended up being a decent show. And I'm glad that they at least gave us something. I'm glad that they at least gave us something on SmackDown. But realistically speaking, if we're going to be honest here, the only thing to really invest our time in on SmackDown was Tama Tonga. Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes kicked off the show. Crowd was hyped for him. He talked about The Rock, and he did his wife's catchphrase. He goes, "Who the hell told you that tonight was open mic night, bitch?" He said that he will be standing right here when The Rock gets back. He says that I will face one of the 6 participants at Backlash. He went over the 6 participants. He talked about how the crowd was sold out. WWE's MO. The crowd is sold out. It's fucking annoying. I get it. You're selling out arenas. Who gives a fuck? Seriously. Who gives a fuck? I get it. You sell out arenas. It's like what AEW's been doing. AEW, every single time AEW is on the air, at least 3 to 4 times throughout the show, someone goes, AEW, we're the best wrestle. And then WWE, 5 or 6 times on commentary, we're in front of a sold out crowd. How many fucking times do you need to say it? Say it once. Say it once and once only. I'm sick and tired of hearing every single time, oh, sold out crowd. All right, great, fine. I don't give a fuck how many tickets you sold. Give me a good show. Sold out crowd this, sold out crowd that. Swear to God. I'm happy that you're taking pride that you're selling tickets, but how about we take pride in you putting on a good show? How about we take pride in you pushing the young talent? How about we take pride in you actually giving us something of substance, not what we got on Monday? Sold out crowd, though. Fucking annoying. Holy shit. Cody said, for anyone on SmackDown, my name is Cody Rhodes, once undesirable, now undeniable, and I'm the undisputed Universal Champion. Pretty typical. Pretty typical shit. And then afterwards, we go into our first triple threat match of the evening. It is LA Knight versus Bobby Lashley versus Santos Escobar, the first triple threat qualifying match to see who is going to fight Cody at Backlash. This was a fun match. This was a very fun match. And matter of fact, they gave us more wrestling on SmackDown than I would have even anticipated. And I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that Triple H understood that he didn't give us jack shit on Monday. So at least now he attempted to try and give us something of substance on Friday. Now, let's go over the match a little bit. We had a Tower of Doom spot. Lashley covered Escobar for a 2. We had double knees by Escobar to both Lashley and Knight. We had a power slam and an elbow drop. All of a sudden, out comes Legado del Fantasma. Out comes Legado del Fantasma, and Legado del Fantasma swarms LA Knight. Afterwards, we had none other than B-Fab and the Street Profits. They came out and they took out Legado del Fantasma. So it was back to a triple threat match. We had Montez Ford with a Tope Con Hero onto Humberto and Garza. Lashley then hit a flatliner on Escobar. Escobar dodged the spear. Lashley was sent into the post. LA Knight with a BFT. 1, 2, 3. LA Knight gets the win. And LA Knight is advancing to next week to compete in a number 1 contenders match to see who's fighting Cody. Now, first off, this was a fun match. This was a very fun match. But I have to ask the question here. I have to ask the question. How is it that anyone is looking at any of these individuals, right? How is it that anyone is looking at AJ Styles, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, and Kevin Owens? How are you looking at these 6 individuals and saying, yeah, they all have a case as to why they should be fighting Cody? You want to know what my problem is? My problem is none of these guys should be fighting Cody. You know why? Because none of them have earned it. None of them have been built up enough. This is why WWE needs a ranking system. WWE needs to build people up through wins, not through promos. Remember when Drew McIntyre was looking to fight Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship? What was Drew McIntyre doing? Drew McIntyre was out there winning matches. He beat Kofi Kingston. He beat Xavier Woods. He beat Sami Zayn. He beat Jey Uso. He was on a 4-5 match winning streak. Thus, he got a title shot. It's quite simple. It's quite simple. I don't understand how it is so fucking hard for anyone to understand that in order to build someone up, you need to have them win matches. And I'm talking about win matches consistently. Take a look at what is going on. Kevin Owens lost at WrestleMania to Logan Paul in the U.S. title triple threat match. AJ Styles lost to LA Knight. Santos Escobar lost to Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio for the last 6 months has been MIA, recovering from knee surgery. He lost the U.S. title to Logan Paul, and then he lost to Santos Escobar on SmackDown. His first win in the last 6 months was in a tag team match at WrestleMania. That makes him worthy? That makes him worthy of competing in a number 1 contenders match. Really? What about Bobby Lashley? Bobby Lashley and the Profits fought the Final Testament. When was the last time Bobby Lashley got a legitimate, and I mean a legitimate, string of wins? One measly victory in a 6-man tag team match does not make you worthy of fighting for the world championship. And then you got LA Knight. LA Knight, yes, he beat AJ Styles, but how many legit victories has LA Knight gotten this year? LA Knight lost in the Royal Rumble. He lost the world title match at the Rumble, and then he lost the Elimination Chamber match. Does that make him worthy of fighting Cody Rhodes? LA Knight has not been built up enough. And in addition to that, LA Knight should be fighting Logan Paul for the United States Championship. How are any of these guys credible? Cody Rhodes is now either fighting LA Knight or AJ Styles. Now, the 2 triple threat matches didn't make any sense to begin with. Owens, Styles, and Escobar lost their matches at WrestleMania, and then Rey, LA Knight, and Lashley, they did not get built up enough. So now where are we? We're in a position where next week we're going to get a WrestleMania rematch with LA Knight and AJ Styles. We're probably going to get AJ Styles taking the victory, 50-50 booking between himself and LA Knight. LA Knight is going to take a loss that he doesn't need to take, and Styles, after he lost at WrestleMania, he's getting a world title match at Backlash. If anything, it would have made sense if Styles won at WrestleMania. This is WWE's problem. They put all their eggs into the Cody Rhodes basket and the Roman Reigns basket, and they didn't build up anyone else to challenge the winner of that match. And now we got Cody versus AJ Styles. I don't get it. I honest to God do not get it. Really fucking stupid. Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, and Paul Heyman, they came out to address the crowd. Heyman discussed how the bloodline offered no excuses. Accountability is very big, according to the bloodline. Roman Reigns, he gave in to temptation. He took his eye off of Cody, and he hit Seth with the chair. He was blinded by revenge, and thus Cody Rhodes is your new undisputed champion. But like a phoenix, your tribal chief, all of a sudden, Solo Sikoa stared down Paul Heyman. Solo Sikoa stared down Heyman and he said, losing and winning matters, right? There are consequences to losing, right? Consequences need change. So all of a sudden, Solo Sikoa stared down Jimmy. He hugged him and he said, you're my brother. I love you. All of a sudden, Tama Tonga came out of the crowd and attacked Jimmy Uso. The crowd was chanting, holy shit. Solo Sikoa with various Samoan spikes to Jimmy Uso. Tama Tonga put a chair around Jimmy Uso's head, and Solo Sikoa with a hip attack with the chair around Jimmy's neck. And it looks like we got ourselves a new bloodline being led by Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa has seemingly taken over the duties as the tribal chief. This was awesome. This was fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. Really, really, really solid material. And for the first time in a solid year, because coming out of last year's WrestleMania, the Bloodline storyline, it went downhill, and it went downhill very, very quickly. Now it's on the rise. Tama Tonga made his debut on SmackDown, and for the first time in a solid year, the Bloodline storyline has genuine intrigue. Coming out of WrestleMania 39, when Roman foolishly was booked to beat Cody Rhodes, the WWE had Roman Reigns continue on into the summer as champion, and the Bloodline storyline, it just took a nosedive into the ocean. Nothing that Roman Reigns or the Bloodline did following WrestleMania 39 was anything of note. Nothing. But now with Tama Tonga being inserted into the Bloodline, now with Roman finally losing the championship, this offers up so many different avenues, potentially a War Games, potentially Roman and Solo, potentially the Usos reuniting. Tama Tonga has single-handedly given the Bloodline storyline a new sense of life, and I can't wait to see what happens. Cameron Grimes, my boy Cameron Grimes, being mistreated on SmackDown. He lost to Braun Breaker in legitimately 2 minutes. Quite pathetic if you ask me. Cameron Grimes deserves better. Bayley came out to address the crowd. Crowd was chanting, you deserve it. She said that she is proud to call herself women's champion. This one feels a bit different because this championship represents the most talented locker room that I've ever been a part of. You guys have been there through everything. You never gave up on my vision, and I thank you. Why don't we give out a brand new opportunity? Come on out. Come on out. She was about to say someone, but out came Tiffany Stratton. She said that she was disappointed that she wasn't even given an opportunity at WrestleMania. She said that it's Tiffy time. Bayley then said she wanted to get in the ring with Naomi. Out came Naomi. Stratton reminded Naomi that, hey, I already beat you. Naomi said that she's earned everything and she won't stop now. She challenged Stratton to a match. And we got ourselves Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. These two women actually got a solid amount of time. I was actually impressed and shocked. And we got ourselves a decent little match between these two, with Naomi taking the win. And I'd like to hope that if Naomi and Tiffany Stratton were given a lengthy amount of time, I'd like to hope that this is a step in the right direction, because we need to get rid of these 2-minute matches on WWE TV. We need legitimate competitive matches, not just in the women's division, but in the men's division too. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Jade Cargill with the win in 2 minutes. A complete waste of time. But yet some people want to hype up Jade Cargill as being a big-time star, when in reality, she's not. Jade Cargill is a one-trick pony. Main event, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles, and Rey Mysterio. This was the second triple threat qualifying match. AJ Styles ended up getting the win here. It was a great match. And easily, this reminded me a little bit of NXT Black and Gold. It felt important based on what those guys were doing in the ring. Again, the only problem is that there is no one right now outside of Orton, Rock, and Punk that will look credible against Cody. No one gives a fuck about AJ Styles because AJ Styles has been ruined by WWE Creative. So even if he does win, it's not going to be anything of note. And then you got LA Knight, who should not be challenging for the world title now. LA Knight should be challenging Logan Paul for the United States title. And I'm still pissed that we did not get LA Knight versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania. But AJ Styles wins. It was a great match. And SmackDown easily was the best show of the week. Although the only real thing to come out of that show with anything of substance was Tama Tonga. And we get AJ and LA Knight next week. And the winner faces Cody Rhodes at Backlash. Rampage. Rampage really wasn't anything of note. Pretty standard show. Very lame show. If anything, I didn't even want to watch Rampage, which was very disappointing because Rampage was actually turning the corner this year. Orange Cassidy. He took on Alex Reynolds. Really nothing of note here. Decent little match. Cassidy wins. All of a sudden, Trent came out. To a chorus of boos. Out came Chuck Taylor, and he stood between Trent Beretta and Orange Cassidy, and Chuck Taylor, he just walked off. We didn't even get an explanation from Trent Beretta, which, if you ask me, is kind of ridiculous. Julia Hart. She took on Layla Hirsch. This was for the TBS Championship. This was awful. I don't know what the fuck happened here. I'm not sure if Julia got injured. I'm not sure if it was her shoulder, but holy shit, they ended this match like that. Didn't feel important whatsoever. Awful fucking match. This is the problem with Rampage. It's so unstructured. We do not need 4 matches on the fucking show. Cool Hand Angelo Parker, he took on Zack Knight. You know what I fucking hate? The fact that Zack Knight, who is actually a great fucking wrestler. I've watched Zack Knight very closely. Zack Knight can go. Zack Knight is a hard hitter, but yet he's stuck in the most inconsequential storyline in AEW right now. This storyline has done nothing for anyone. I'm surprised this storyline is still going on. This shit needs to end. We need to get rid of this love triangle storyline. We need to get Zack Knight into something more serious. Because Zack Knight, as we speak right now, Zack Knight is very good. And the fact that he is subjected to this bullshit, this is absolutely pathetic. Zack Knight wins. You want to know what was the best thing to come out of Rampage? The best thing to come out of Rampage was Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. They had a scenario. They had a little backstage interaction where Kyle O'Reilly, he said that he wants to challenge for a championship, and O'Reilly said, you know something? I do want to be international champion. Strong says, you know, I respect that you want to be a champion, but you can't be international champion. And I respect that you want to do it on your own as long as it doesn't involve me. So it looks like we could be building towards Kyle O'Reilly versus Roderick Strong for the international championship. I would not mind that whatsoever. I think that would be great. I think that would be awesome. And then in the main event, Jay White defeated Matt Sydal. A nothing match, a nothing show, completely skippable, no energy whatsoever, and it's honestly kind of depressing. Seeing how energetic the shows were throughout the month of March. We had some of the best shows that we've ever seen from AEW's side of the fence. And now in April, going into Dynasty, it's like all that energy just evaporated into nothing. Where's the consistency? I don't get it. That's all I got for you, people. That's all I got for you people. Shout out to Raphael and Hoolagrim. Hoolagrim has officially become a member. And Hoolagrim sent in a super chat. Thank you very much to Raphael for also sending in a super chat. You guys are fucking great. You guys are awesome. Thank you, everyone who stopped by and watched. Thank you to Lisa. Thank you to Rob King. Thank you to Mid-Mo-Smark. Thank you very much to Danielle. Thank you very much to the Final Hoss. You guys have been awesome. Yet another successful edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank everyone who supported me last week throughout WrestleMania, a big weekend. Do not forget, next Tuesday, I will join my good friend Jess on the Skywalker Lowdown show next Tuesday, April 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Then, next Thursday, my good friend Jess will be migrating over to my channel, and we will preview and predict AEW Dynasty. That's going to be good. It's going to be good. Me and Jess will predict AEW Dynasty next Thursday, April 18th at 7:30 p.m. And then on Monday, April 22nd at 2 p.m., my man Hoolagrim, the first member of the DJ Storms posse, first official member of the channel, he will be coming on my channel once again for the second time this month to review AEW Dynasty. Plenty more good shit coming. Oh, and by the way, I plan on making a special appearance on Wrestling with Savage's channel. That's going to be during the Dynamite Watch-Along on Wednesday, April 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Till next time, people, like, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the links in the description. Hit the super chats, super stickers, and super thanks. I am DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. But before we get out of here, people, you already know the drill. Please let everyone know who runs the IWC as I take a nice sip of my ice water right there. And I will tell you who runs the IWC. Who but DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you ever, ever forget it.
Retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution! Oh yeah, we want retribution!